and welcome once again to the Word of the Day podcast, where useful words are pleasantly explained. I am Jamie Silva, your host, and let's delve into today's word, which is the adjective auspicious. Now, I had thought that this adjective meant generally noteworthy or remarkable or important. But when I looked it up for the show, I discovered that this might not be quite correct. The official or online definition goes like this, quote, conducive to success, favorable, unquote. And conducive, by the way, just means leading to or well suited for. For example, you would say, warm weather is conducive to pool parties, or maybe soothing music is conducive to taking a nap. So, if auspicious refers to things that might lead to or produce success, or just a positive outcome generally, that sounds to me like it works very similarly to the word promising, as in the example sentence, finding 3 new species of salamander made for a promising start to the zoologist's trip to the uninhabited island. Now, people usually think, and not without reason, that if something starts off well, it'll probably end well too, that a promising start promises more good things to come. That's what makes a good beginning promising, or auspicious. Alternatively, to refer to a bad beginning, one that bodes ill or is a harbinger of doom perhaps, you would use the word inauspicious, which is just the opposite of auspicious, and it means not conducive to success, or unfavorable. I'll focus on auspicious in this show, but don't forget about inauspicious, because it is also quite useful. The etymology and origin of auspicious are really interesting, and they help us better understand how to use the word. Auspicious comes from the Latin word auspicium, meaning divining or reading the future by observing the flight of birds. And this was a common practice in ancient Rome, and elsewhere in fact, and it was known as taking the auspices. Before any important undertaking or decision or event, priests or other very important people would get together and try to figure out whether the gods would smile on their endeavor. And there were tons of ways to do this, lots of signs you could look for, usually relating to the natural world, including thunder or lightning, the behavior of animals, or the sound and flight of birds. In the case of birds, if the right birds appeared in the right part of the sky at the right time, that was a good sign. It showed the gods approved of whatever you were up to, and all would be well. If it was the wrong bird, or, it made the wrong noise, or lightning flashed on the right side of the sky and not the left, then that might signify the reverse. Note, by the way, that this practice wasn't about predicting precisely what would happen in the future. Rather, taking the auspices was just meant to get a divine thumbs up or thumbs down, wherein Jupiter or possibly some other god would indicate by means of a sign that, yes, whatever you're up to is going to go well, we like it, or maybe this isn't such a good idea, and if you do it anyway, terrible things will happen. To give you an idea of what this taking the auspices might look like, let's turn to a poem penned by the Roman statesman and author Cicero, who writes of a Roman general named Marius, who I believe was exiled from Rome at one point and not happy about it. But then he saw a couple very promising signs in the sky. Quote, behold, from out of the tree, on rapid wing, the eagle that attends high thundering Jove, a serpent bore, whose fangs had wounded her. And as she flew, her cruel talons pierced quite through its flesh. At last, with sated wrath and grievous wounds avenged, she dropped her prey, and from the west she sought the shining east. When Marius, reader of divine decrees, observed the bird's auspicious gliding course, he recognized the goodly sign foretold, that he in glory would return to Rome. Then on the left Jove's thunder pealed aloud, and thus declared the eagle's omen true. Unquote. Well, first off, it is especially impressive that this fellow Marius saw both an eagle in a very triumphant situation and heard some thunder to boot, a bit of a 2-for-1 deal as far as signs go. Second, you probably noticed that Cicero uses the word auspicious, or at least a Latin word that translates to auspicious, in order to describe the eagle's flight, and really its whole behavior during this curious incident. And this really sums up what this word is all about. Signs or suggestions or indications that something is going to turn out quite well. And the point of watching the birds, of taking the auspices, was to find out if they were auspicious, if they demonstrated that the gods favored whatever you were asking them about. Nowadays, I don't think as many people are turning to birds and thunderstorms in order to divine the future. And so therefore, the modern usage of auspicious is a little less mystical and a little more practical. it's been secularized, if you will, in that just because a quote-unquote good sign occurs, that doesn't mean higher powers are on your side and are manifesting their favor through that visible sign. Instead, it is concrete evidence that success is more likely, or by the very fact that it happened, it outright makes success more likely. So, by way of contrast, if you finally locate your lucky socks that you always wear to boost your favorite baseball team's odds of winning, I don't think that would be called an auspicious occurrence. Maybe in Roman times, but not today. However, if the first batter of the game on the team you're rooting for hits a home run, that is an auspicious beginning. It is a promising start because it suggests your team is more likely to win. And in fact, by giving your team an early advantage, that home run, that auspicious beginning, truly does boost their chances of victory. So to sum up, auspicious today is less about omens and more about starting off on the right foot. Let's now get a couple examples of how auspicious is used in ordinary conversation or writing. Example number 1. Olivia's first day at work began on an auspicious note when she had the best fun fact to share about herself in the department-wide get-to-know-you session. I always knew my years of training snakes to actually play the game of snake in real life would come in handy, she said to herself contentedly. Example number 2. The discordant sounds of a poorly rehearsed brass section marked an inauspicious start to the Sons of Sinatra performance. And note here that I'm using inauspicious. If the brass section had sounded great, obviously that would have been an auspicious start. Example number 3. The sun was shining, Brad was wide awake and alert and enthusiastic, and the smell of bacon wafted over from the portable stove nearby. It was an auspicious beginning to the camping trip. Example number 4 comes from Mark Twain in the book The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and here he is describing a situation in which Tom and his friend Huckleberry Finn were waiting till nighttime to do some treasure hunting. Quote, "Everything was auspicious. The blackness of darkness reigned, and a perfect stillness was interrupted only by occasional mutterings of distant thunder." Unquote. So that's it for the examples for the main sense of auspicious. But after doing some research and consulting with some folks on how this word is commonly used, I have come to the conclusion that my original definition is actually not totally incorrect. If you remember, I said it could mean generally noteworthy or remarkable or important. And here is where you see this separate sense come into play. On any special occasion when speeches are given, those speeches will probably contain the phrase, "on this auspicious day," or "on this auspicious date," meaning merely that this is a grand and special occasion. But not meaning, I don't think, that the occasion is some sort of favorable sign in and of itself, as was the case with the other sense of auspicious, the one with the birds and the gods and everything. The sentiment here is just, hey, aren't we all excited to be here? What a fun and excellent time this is. Consider this example from Charles Dickens in his book, The Old Curiosity Shop. Quote, "I trust, Mr. Garland, my dear sir, that we may mutually congratulate each other on this auspicious occasion." Unquote. Again, it doesn't seem here that the event in question, which was actually pretty mundane, had been accompanied by any signs of certain success. It was just broadly noteworthy and kind of special. So in terms of usage, I think that if you want to make the vaguest possible statement of approval about an occasion, you can call it auspicious. And this should be just as legitimate a meaning as the conducive to success meaning that we talked about before. Now, one event where you especially see the word auspicious rolled out all the time is at graduation ceremonies, where the speakers, especially the valedictorian, will remark how pleased they are to speak to you on this auspicious day when so many bright young minds are going off to conquer and or change the world. I've watched a few of these speeches in my day, and I've always been struck by their practice of proclaiming the unparalleled accomplishments and unrivaled prospects of the graduating class. Other seniors out there may be mediocre or run-of-the-mill, but this class, this school, these young people, my cohort, we are poised for glory and success. To emulate this approach, and because it's fitting for this time of year, I have taken the liberty of penning a graduation poem, one that lauds the diverse talents of the graduates, whoever they might be, and anticipates the shining futures they will surely enjoy. It goes as follows. I've seen these speeches lots before. I know just what to say. The point is to inform you all why we are here today. We'll soon move on to greater things. We'll do just as we please. The corporate types will clap as we utilize our synergies. Heads of state will lunch with us. They'll fear our glare the most, for they know if they did not, we'd have them all deposed. We'll thrive in academia, debating over niceties. Within months, we'll infiltrate their secretist societies. We'll fit right in the world of sports, and all-stars will applaud our names as they dedicate to us rooms in all their halls of fame. Politicians will avoid our devastating interviews, but only those we deem okay will ever even make the news. In engineering circles, we will be forever idolized. Our treatises on bridge design will frequently get plagiarized. We'll remember who was kind when we rise to wealth and cheers. Those less nice will relegate to lame dead-end careers. This day is quite auspicious, as I hope you are aware. Please join us for refreshments now. They're set up over there. Well, there you have it. If any of you are graduating soon and are at the top of your class, A, congratulations, and B, if you'd like to use this in your valedictorian address, you are welcome to do so. Well, that will do it for this episode. I do hope you enjoyed it. And if it's the first episode that you're hearing from us, I hope you found it an auspicious beginning to your listening experience. This has been the Word of the Day podcast. I'm Jamie Silva, and we'll see you next time.